Okay, it's 6 p.m, so we will get started. I declare the agenda briefing of the 16th of April 2024 open at 6:01 p.m. We acknowledge the Woodjuk people of the traditional custodians of the land, and we also pay our respects to elders both past and present. In accordance with the City of Canning Policy CM 105, agenda briefings are conducted for the purpose of providing elected members with a forum to ask questions of the City's administration and to receive answers to those questions to assist informed decision-making by Council at next week's ordinary Council meeting. Agenda briefings are not decision-making forums. Questions may be asked and answered, and there is to be no debate or discussion. Questions must be specifically relevant to the items being discussed. Elected members and employees must disclose any financial proximity or partiality interests they have in an item to be discussed and declare the nature of that interest at the commencement of the briefing or at the latest when the item is about to be discussed. If a member or employee has a financial proximity or partiality interest in a matter arising during discussion, the nature of that interest must be disclosed as soon as possible after the matter is raised. Interests are to be disclosed in accordance with the provision of the Local Government Act 1995 as they apply to council meetings. Individuals disclosing an interest other than partiality interest must not participate in that part of a briefing relating to their interest and must leave the meeting room while the item is under discussion. Agenda briefings are public meetings and any information provided to the meeting by attendees may be publicly accessible. May I ask everybody here this evening to make sure your mobile phones are turned off or on silent for the duration of the briefing. This briefing is being live streamed via the City's YouTube channel. Firstly, I would like to welcome our new Manager of Governance and Elected Members Services. That's Mustafa Yildiz. Welcome, Mustafa. We're very glad to have you on board with us. And secondly, I would like to hand over to Councillor Tuchek, who is going to tell us why we are all wearing blue this evening.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Tonight, as you can see, everyone's in blue. That is the international colour for autism, and it's a very calming colour. Tonight is all about autism awareness and accepting everybody whose life is on the spectrum. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Tuchek. At item 2, attendance, we have Mayor Hall, who's on approved leave, and we also have Councillor Singh, who is an apology tonight. At item 2.2, we have approved leave of absence. Councillor Tuchek has an approved leave of absence for the period of 28th of May to the 25th of June 2024, and we do have a leave of absence request by Councillor Parkinson, who will provide that information at next week's OCM. At item 3, we have disclosures of interests. CEO, do we have any this evening?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've received no declarations of interest for tonight's meeting.
Thank you very much. At item 4, we've got question time for the public. I will officially open question time at 6:04 p.m. and we have one question from Mr. Beecroft. If you'd like to step up to the microphone, Mr. Beecroft, and ask your 2 questions, I see.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor, and good evening, councillors and officers. Just one point before I ask a question.
Sorry, Mr. Beecroft, can I just get you to state your address for the record?
Name and address?
Name and address, yes, thank you.
George Beecroft, 9 Civic Gardens, Cannington. Just one point, you mentioned briefing. Is it a full council meeting tonight or a briefing?
This is just a briefing, Mr. Beecroft. Our OCM is next Tuesday night.
This is a briefing?
Correct.
So the questions that I ask are not about the agenda. Is it okay if I ask them?
Unfortunately not. They must be about the agenda tonight.
That's
However,
right.
you are welcome to come back next week and ask your questions, or you can we can submit them to the relevant departments and they can get back to you in writing between now and then.
No, that's okay. I'll come back next week. Sorry, I thought it was a full council meeting tonight.
Not a problem. It's understandable. We did move the council meetings. We no longer have agenda briefings or council meetings during school holidays. So this month has been pushed back a week. So I can understand where maybe the confusion has come in.
Thank you
Usually
very-
we would have had the AB last week and the OCM this week.
Thank you very much. I'll come back next week.
No problem. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Mr. Beecroft. Do we have anybody else in the public gallery for questions? No, not a problem. I will close question time at 6:05 p.m. Probably don't need to read all of that now, do I? At item 4.3, we've got deputations, which there are none. Item 5, items brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery, there are none. At item 6, report of committee meetings, again, there are none. At item 7, reports. I take it that means there's none, because that's blank. And item 7.1, items of the CEO, Mr. Michael Littleton. There are no reports. Okay, so we will now move on to item 7.2. The responsible director is Miss Lorraine Driscoll, of the Director of Corporate and Commercial. And at item CC 00624, the selection of preferred provider and proposed lease at 4 Hares Street, Wilson, formerly the Mulberry Tree Childcare Centre. Do we have any questions, councillors, on this item? Councillor Hearn?
Sorry, I'm addressing Director Driscoll through the Deputy Mayor. Can you please advise which City of Canning strategy or policy stipulates the City will provide OSHC services or sites for provision of OSHC services?
Director Driscoll?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I'll take that question notice and provide you with the detailed response for next week's meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Hearn. Did you have another one?
Yep. So without having that answer, is it possible to advise why no alternative uses or divestment of the site were considered?
Director Driscoll?
I'll provide, through you, Deputy Mayor, I'll provide you with the details of that for next council meeting.
That's all, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hearn. Did anybody else have a question? Councillor Secon?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. In reference to paragraph 21, I have two questions. Will there be a review of the rent on an annual basis, or is it as stipulated in paragraph 21 for 5 years?
Director Driscoll?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, the rent review will occur every 5 years. The rent is set at current market value and will be reviewed every 5 years.
Thank you. And my second question is, will there be additional income derived by the city should the premises be sublet to other parties outside of the school hours? For example, there was a mention of tuition and pre-kindy classes.
Director Driscoll?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, the terms of this lease allowed the leasee to operate a casual hire. What's the word I'm looking for? Casual hire, so to allow other groups, so the additional income will go to the leasee.
Okay, thank you.
Councillors, do we have any more questions? So, Councillor Bain?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Could the City confirm the site is owned by the Department of Education with the City as the landlord? Is that correct?
Director Driscoll?
I'll take that question on notice, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bain. Was that it?
A couple more, if
Another
I
one?
may.
Yeah, go for it.
I note that the report puts forward that there'll be additional purposes for the site. Are these activities within the permitted purposes? And given those additional activities, will we consult the residents surrounding the site, given that it will now be used on some nights and weekends?
Director Driscoll?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, the proposal that we received proposed a number of different activities. However, the primary use of the building is for childcare as per the permitted purpose. However, in some cases, leasees do operate casual hire arrangements with groups, but it's likely that this will be contained just to childcare and children activities, given the scope of time that it's required. However, if there are other casual hire arrangements, we will talk to our team regarding that.
Councillor Bain, do you have any more questions?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So just to confirm, if they sublet it, the proposed applicant, we will then see if it's necessary to engage with public consultation, given the activities are outside of what might be considered normal hours.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, it would not be a sublease. It's casual hire. It's a different casual hire arrangement. So the group have permitted under their lease to casually hire the premises rather than sublease.
Good. Any follow-ups? Okay. Anybody else before we move on? No? Okay, so we'll move to item CC 00724, the receiving of the monthly financial report for February 2024. Do we have any questions on that item, councillors? Councillor Kunza?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a couple of questions through you to Director Driscoll. With respect to the proposed method for collecting and paying the ESL, is there any financial assessment based on previous year or anything comparing the two?
Director Driscoll? Through you, Deputy Mayor, in terms of the financial assessment, I guess if we consider the agreement, the conditions under which we operate, so the first one being the assumption of the liabilities, we don't expect there to be any additional cost to the city in regard to that. We do expect there to be increase in our investment, in our interest income, due to the cash flow related to the payments of ESL, and we haven't done the modelling for that, but we expect it to be a little bit higher than what we currently receive. The opposite to that is around the reduction in expenditure around customising the system. We're reducing the admin burden, and we're not having to customise a system and then to carry that customisation cost throughout the life of the system.
Councillor Kunza, did you have any more questions?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just through you. So there's not expected to be any non-payments of the ESL at the end of the... although we're accepting liability, there's not expected in previous years we don't actually receive any non-payment of the ESL?
Through you, Deputy Mayor. So the non-pay will be treated the same as rates recovery, so general rates recovery. So we will treat that the same way as we do with normal rates recovery, which, as you know, is will be a charge against the property. So we're not expecting any, I guess, negative impact in terms of the recovery of ESL.
And so with respect to your comments on increased interest, whilst we retain the late interest, do we actually put the funds into term deposits, short-term term deposits, to actually accrue interest before we have to pay it?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, any surplus funds we will put into investment products.
I don't mean a surplus. So with respect to the collection, given that a lot of the funds are collected up front and then we put the funds into term deposits, do we do that with the ESL as well?
Yes, we do.
Thank you, Councillor Kunza. Anyone else got any questions on this item? Councillor Secon.
In reference to page 31, capital expenditure, infrastructure assets, carousel to Rossmoyne Shared Path, I note that there are delays with finalising Route 3 and the reprogram team will be commencing Route 2. Could we request for a map of Route 2 and 3 Shared Path?
That would be you, Director Bowe.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Happy to provide that map to all the elected members. Councillor Secon.
Thank you. And just a follow-up question. Is Route 2 and 3 also include Willetton's connectivity to Carousel via Willery Drive?
Director Bowe.
I believe Route 3 does, yes, but I'll confirm that and give some information when I send out the maps.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Any more questions on that item? Yes, Councillor Bain.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just one, and regarding paragraph 27, the city puts forward that it's for projects of the value of 5,000 and over, it's commenced 50%, 56% of those projects. What does the city anticipate as we get to the end of the financial year? What would the percentage be of projects commenced? And does it consider 56% on track?
Director Bowe.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. 56, you're talking about the capital projects with the threshold of $5,000, Councillor Bain. Look, we haven't done any forecasting of how many will complete in the financial period. Obviously, we'd be hoping to get close to 100 with those ones. Obviously, we've also provided information previously to the elected members regarding the higher value capital projects and the likely completion of those. I'll have a look with the staff, and if we can do some analysis, we'll provide that information as well.
Thank you, Director Bowe. Councillors, any more questions on that item? If not, we will move on to CC 00824, Tender 05/2022 for banking services. Do we have any questions on that item? Councillor Kunza.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. How long has the city been with the CBA?
Director Driscoll.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I'll refer to our finance manager. I think it's 10 years, but I'll ask him for confirmation. 8 years.
Thank you. Hitesh has just told us it's 8 years.
In mid-2021, the then CEO told me that the city was looking to go out to tender on this in 2022. Why did we go out to tender on the 20th of December knowing that everyone would be on holiday? 2 days before we went on holiday.
Director Driscoll.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. I guess that, look, the timing of this, it wasn't around holiday. The timing of this tender was based around workload and commitments at the time. The finance team are going through a significant system change, and that determined timing. And I guess with this, we approached the banks, the number of banks, and the respondents are as contained in the evaluation report. So we did receive responses, but there's no particular reason to go out on that date.
And just following up on that, so have you actually heard from ANZ and Westpac and any other financial institutions why they didn't participate?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, yes, as a follow-up, we contacted the banks that didn't participate, and they provided us with their reasons for not.
Councillors, any other questions on this item? No, we shall move on to Director Bride, being the Director of Planning and Development, item PD 00324, Canning City Centre Parking Demand Forecasting and Management Report. Councillors, do we have any questions on this item? Councillor Bain.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The report that we received of the City of Canning Parking Demand and Management, that recommended that the city not proceed with paid parking until 2035. Does that mean that, can the city confirm that the city's proposed parking management plan won't investigate paid parking in the City of Canning? Thank you.
Director Bride.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. Well, certainly the report shows that there's no need or no reason to do that. The wider parking management plan, and Director McQuaid may want to add to this, is unlikely to include that requirement if it's not required, given the context of the Level 5 design report.
Thank you, Director Bride. Councillors, any more questions on that item? No, we shall move on. Item 7.4. Director Bowe, Director of Infrastructure and Environment, has nothing this evening. So we'll move on to item 7.5. Dr. Sarah McQuaid, Director of Customer and Community. We have item CO 00524, Canning Open Arts Studios. Councillors, do we have any questions on that item? No, we shall move on to item number 8, notice of motions for consideration at the next ordinary council meeting. As you would know, I sent two through to you last night. I'll be proposing 2 notice of motion. The first one together with Councillor Kunza, titled Proposed Changes to 3 Intersections along Leach Highway in Rossmoyne, Shelley and Riverton. And the second one I'll be presenting with Councillor Bain, titled Education and Management Plan for the Shot Hole Borer. Both notices of motions will be published in the April Ordinary Council meeting, so we can't take questions on them tonight, but obviously, like I said, feel free to send any questions through between now and then, or it can wait until the OCM. At item 9, urgent business, there is none. At item 10, confidential matters, there are none. Item 11, closure. That was pretty quick. There being no further business, I now declare the agenda briefing closed at 6:22 p.m. And I thank everyone for their attendance and look forward to seeing you next week at the OCM. Thank you.